Good evening, everyone. Cactus here again, bringing you into the final hosting block of Gamo. So first up, we have got Super Mario Odyssey, Any Percent by Chili. I'm going to hand over to him so he can introduce himself and the run.
Thank you, Cactus. Actually, the very first thing I'm going to be doing is just checking a timer and starting my clock. So, oh, I did not press my A button hard enough. There we go. Okay. I'll explain why I'm doing this a little bit later into the run. But for those of you that don't know me, I am Chili. Been in the Smash community for quite a while. Been doing Mario Odyssey speedruns for about a year on and off at this point. So this category is Any Percent, which should know in speedrunning, beat the game as fast as possible. It's not like with SM64 where we have shorter categories. With Odyssey, there's no real big skips, so we're kind of going to be playing the game as intended. I am going to be starting the game in a second, so I will give you a countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, don't need my timer anymore. So, the first thing that we're going to notice right off the bat, which is very nice for us speedrunners, is that we have skippable cutscenes. Very useful. I believe it's the first 3D Mario where we had that. Not every cutscene is skippable. Like, we are now going into this kind of tutorial almost, with where we're going to meet Cappy. Cappy is our little companion in Odyssey. Very useful. A lot of the movement in the game is driven by Cappy. I'm turning my camera down here so that we skip any kind of camera control tutorial and we're immediately off. We're not going to go talk to Cappy. You might be able to see that I'm shaking my controller. Motion controls are required for this run. So if you shake while you're rolling, you move faster. Okay, so we've already got Cappy. We're going to roll over here. And we're not going to be using Cappy too much to start with. Oh my god, already bonked. I have been saying that I'm going to be donating £3 for every bonk. So if someone in chat wants to get a bonk counter going, we're at 1 already. Just using... So Cappy can capture items from a mile away, which is very useful. So Mario doesn't need to reach it. We just need Cappy to get there. And we're going to go into the first capture of the run, which is the frog. Frog is fairly powerful, has a very big jump, and we're actually going to use a little mechanic here called vectoring, where you'll notice I'm not going at a straight line, I'm going at sort of 45-degree angle. Oh, that's unfortunate, I didn't quite get the right vector there, but it allows us to go a little bit faster. Basically, your speed is not capped if you go at a 45-degree angle to where you want to go to. So we're just coming around the corner here, almost at the end of Cat Kingdom already, where we're going to be fighting our first boss, which is Topper. So the story of this game is that Bowser has kidnapped Peach and is trying to marry her. Oh dear, we have tried to skip Topper's phase a little bit too early. It's fine. And so he has hired 4 Broodals, which are these bunnies, as his wedding planners, and you will be fighting them throughout the story. So that was Topper. All the Broodals, it's quite neat, have little ways of skipping their phases. I actually missed that there, which is... I don't tend to do that very often, but it happens sometimes. You're meant to jump on Topper's hat. I did it slightly too early. So we're already out of Captain Kingdom, which is the kind of first tutorial section. We have 1 capture, get used to Cappy movement. The big thing that separates, I'd say, speedrunning Odyssey to playing it normally is the amount of movement you do bouncing off Cappy. It's something that is kind of shown to you that you can do as a casual player, but it's not really used too much. We'll see a little bit of it in Cascade Kingdom. As we actually get another capture, we're going to get our first moon, which is the star equivalent in this game. Basically, how Any Percent works is each kingdom will give you a set number of moons that you need to leave that kingdom. So in Cascade Kingdom, we only need 5 to power up the Odyssey and leave. A lot of the later kingdoms, you need a lot more moons than that. And sometimes you do that by playing the story of the kingdom, but the story in most kingdoms is not necessary. So you'll see in some of the bigger kingdoms, we don't do the story because it's quite slow. But here, we're just going to be using, going over here. If you go over to the left there, this cutscene will trigger a little bit earlier. And we're going to be heading over to the first big skip of the run. So Cascade Kingdom is kind of for getting used to the movement, but we're going to jump up here, go over to the T-Rex, capture it, and we're going to do something called Dino Skip, which allows us to skip straight to the boss fight. So we go over here, put the T-Rex's foot on the trampoline like so, and dive into the loading zone of the boss fight, and we're already at the boss fight. This is Madame Brutal. She has a little chain chomp, which we want to capture and use against her. If we can set her up right, we can capture the chain chomp nice and quickly. We can put Cappy out like this. Land on the chain chomp's head. That wasn't as fast as it could have been, and actually we got stuck into the wall, which is really unfortunate. That loses a little bit of time. We have to find a way around the arena again. You'll notice that I'm also capturing or collecting coins. We are going to need coins later in the run. You can buy some moons from the shop, so we make sure that we're collecting enough coins during the route. So that was Madame Brutal, and she's going to drop what's called a multi-moon, which gives you 3 moons. Multi-moons are quite nice because 3 moons is obviously 3 times better than 1. But usually the issue is, as you see here, they play very long, unskippable cutscenes. And you get your multi-moons from story missions, which is why I'm saying that sometimes it's better to skip the story. In Cascade Kingdom, in theory you can skip Madame Brutal, but it's very, very slow to do so. So we don't do that. But we already have 4 moons, and as I was saying earlier, we only need 5 to lead Cascade Kingdom. So we'll just be collecting 1 more moon. After you beat the boss fight, more moons spawn into the kingdom. So it, in theory, would have been faster to go get this other one first, but it wasn't there yet. We're just going to bounce off Cappy up this cliff. And that's our 5th moon in Cascade Kingdom, and we are now ready to leave. Cappy was saying that we should try powering up the Odyssey, but we knew we didn't have enough coins yet. Now we enough moons, rather. Now we have enough moons, we're going to power up the Odyssey. The Odyssey is our ship that we're going to be using to fly around all the different kingdoms. And we always need a certain number of moons, like I say, to go to the next kingdom. Our next kingdom is going to be Sand Kingdom, where we're going to be doing a trick. You noticed, as I said, I was setting my clock up at the start of the run. Hopefully we're leaving around the 6-minute mark right now, which means that I'm going to be entering Sand at a very particular time. So what I did before the run was set up my clock the 28th of March 2021, so we're actually a little bit in the future. And for those of you that don't know, don't keep track of daylight saving time hours like I like to do. That is when daylight saving times are going to kick in this year. So what's going to happen is I'm going to plant a seed in Sand Kingdom in a moment. Now, seeds normally take a full hour to grow into a moon. But by planting the seed before daylight saving time kicks in, we're then going to go away for a little bit and then let the daylight saving times kick in on our Switch, pushing our clock forward an entire hour. Now, Odyssey works off an in-game clock. It doesn't realize that we've just gone forward an entire hour, and we'll just see that as normal, think that an entire hour has passed. By the way, this bird here is on a cycle. We want to make sure we're hitting that. Okay, we did our movement in Sand Kingdom very, very nicely. So we will come back to that seed. You can actually see the seed already growing. So we have skipped forward an hour. We're going to be grabbing this moon here. All these rumble rooms, you're supposed to feel where the room is shaking the most on your vibration on your controller, but they're always in the same space, so we know where to go. So we're going to go down, get our daylight saving moon. We have effectively just skipped forward an hour. Now we're going to do an intentional bonk. This is actually optimal. It helps you turn around faster, but you can still add that to the bonk counter if you want. So I believe we're on 2. And go into the back entrance of the shop. I honestly didn't know how to get that until I did the speed run. You will notice that I'm doing these little weird spins, and then there's a yellow flash out of Mario. This is called a spin pound. It's one of our key movement techs. It allows us to get up to speed quicker. Oh, so there's another rumble moon on the top of this dune like that. And so what I'm doing every time I want to do a spin pound is I have to buffer a 720 spin on my control stick. And that sets Mario to spin, and then you can do a faster version of a ground pound. Some more Cappy movement to make it up to this moon. And then we'll be spin pounding off. Spin pounding off surfaces allows you to fall faster. Basically, different states, Mario falls at different speeds. Rolling off is the fastest. So we try and do that when we can. We're going to go over here, and there's some very cool movement here coming up on the next moon. where I'm going to try and manipulate a bullet bill to follow me over to a moon, so I can capture it nice and quickly. Setup's looking good so far. So we're going to spawn this moon out the crate. Hopefully we've got this right. Oh dear. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, never mind. I got the bullet bill to follow me, but the movement wasn't very good. So we'll just back it up like this. And we actually want to stand over here so a bullet bill will spawn. Grab this moon. That's okay. It's a shame we didn't get that trick, but it happens sometimes. Grab this bullet bill. I'm going to do a little tech, very minor tech, on optimization in the bullet bill where its top speed is higher if you're not pressing the boost button. But you keep shaking. So again, talking about the motion controls, nearly every capture has a bonus move that happens if you shake the controller. So with the bullet bill, if you shake it, Cappy just missed the bullet bill. That's unfortunate. If you shake, the bullet bill will go faster like that. Get this, and we should be able to get another bullet bill that's just spawned. Okay, so something else to talk about is every time you grab a moon, you heal, and that plays a very slow animation. So not only is taking damage bad because you lose time for taking damage, but you lose time twice because you have to watch a healing animation as well. So we're going to dive off this. I kind of skipped over that, but we call that Jaxie skip, where we wall jump off the side of a pillar out of a bullet bill. That's not the intended way you're meant to go there. Also, shout outs to Cactus, the host. Here he is, showing up in a little cameo in the run.
Let's go.
So yeah, Jaxie skip. You're meant to go through a whole underground tunnel to get to that moon, but we found a way to get there just using a bullet bill. We're coming up to the end of Sand Kingdom. There's only 2 moons left. One's under this dune. And the last one is some notes up on the tree. This has been an okay Sand Kingdom, I suppose. Bounce off Cappy and get up to the tree nice and quickly. And we're going to use different Cappy movements to get all these notes quickly. I didn't quite get what I wanted, but hit those 2 with one straightforward Cappy throw. And now we're going to be using the warp to go back to the Odyssey. So even though we were not that far away from the Odyssey, often you'll see the way we finish a kingdom is by warping. It's very fast, and especially on the latest version of the game. So something that I skipped over in Cascade Kingdom, there's a lot to talk about in this game, is that you may have seen older runs of Odyssey where we actually don't get that very first moon with the chain jump. You could do something called first moon skip. That was patched out in version 1.2, I believe, of Odyssey, when they added Luigi's Balloon World. But then they also updated the game to 1.3 later on. And that improved loading time so drastically that 1.3 is now the fastest version of the game, even though we can't do some of the tech that we used to be able to. So it's actually very good from an accessibility standpoint as well. So the next kingdom we're coming up on is Lake Kingdom. Fairly short kingdom, but it does have one of my favorite captures in the game. It's the Cheep Cheep. Cheep Cheep, I think, was very cool if you play this casually because it makes water levels not boring. But in the speedrun, it's also quite cool. It allows you to travel through water. Oh dear. Right, let's try. I don't trust that. We're going to do a jump here that skips a lot of this kingdom out. And the devs actually knew this was possible. You can see Cappy say, "Oh wow, congratulations," in Chinese. Chinese is the fastest version of the game. Oh dear. For the longest time, we thought it was Japanese, which is just very common in most games that Japanese is the fastest version. And then about a year ago, someone retimed it and found out that Chinese was about 3 seconds faster. Oh dear, there's one. So we're going to go drop down here and get our first Cheep Cheep. We're going to use this to get quite a few moons. We don't need that many moons to leave the Lake Kingdom. So that's one. There's another one over here on Dory. Dory does like to move her nose right in front of me, but we didn't monk on it that time. And then we're going to go down, and honestly, I don't know how you were supposed to know to do this casually, but if you shake here, which is effectively the same as ground pounding, the shake is the fish's attack that you can do with a motion input. Spawns a moon. We'll go down and get that. Now we're going to set up something called Cheep Cheep Skip, where we go up to this, and we are able to skip all the way over to the boss fight. Kind of a similar principle to the Dino Skip. Ooh. Managed to hit the flower twice. Okay, now we're going to fight Rango, which is our second Broodal that we're going to fight. So we land on his head, and Ranga's the most broken of all the bosses. We can just kind of fall through his hat like this. And it allows you to just very quickly cycle through all his phases. We'll make sure we have enough coins, and that is Rango. We are going to have to grab a moon and watch some cutscenes, so it's probably a good time for some donations if we've got any.
Yeah, we got £5 from Sean Middlehurst, who says, "Don't think about Monsters Inc." And £20 from Popo, who says, "GG." So thank you to both of you two.
Okay. So the next kingdom we're coming up on is Wooded Kingdom. As you said, as I was saying, I was watching my coin count as we were exiting this kingdom. We're actually in a very good spot. All we have to do is make sure that we're above 100 coins, and we're actually at 120 something. So very, very nice there. Right at the start of Wooded Kingdom, or about 10 seconds into Wooded Kingdom, we're going to be going to the shop where you can buy a moon. Generally, the shops are quite slow, so we don't tend to do it. But in the case of Wooded Kingdom, it's right on our path anyway, so we don't have to go out the way to get it. Wooded Kingdom is probably one of the first very hard, tricky kingdoms. Sand is quite hard as well. But Wooded is one where the routes open up a lot. There's a lot of different routes depending on how good you are at the game. I'm still going to be showing off the beginner route because it's what I'm most comfortable with. I am starting to learn a harder route, but not comfortable doing it in a marathon yet. So we're going to start off with quite a few moons right off the bat. We're going to grab this rock and manipulate this bunny to go over into us, which I did wrong somehow. I'm not sure what I did wrong there. So there's a moon inside that rock. We'll go back and get the bunny now. Anyone that plays Mario 64 knows that bunnies are not our friends. Anyway, that's over. So that's 2 quick moves. Should have been a little bit faster than that, but these things happen. And we're going to go over to our shop friend, who tells us to spend some coins and buy his moon, which we will oblige to. And then we're going to do some pretty slick movement coming up, if I can get it right. The main capture in Wooded Kingdom is these cabbage boys that can extend. They are useful, but we're not going to use them to get up that waterfall. We're just going to do it with Cappy movement. And again, we can just make this up with Cappy movement as well. And then there's a nut up behind us. And that was pretty slick. Okay, music banger alert coming in a second, so get ready for that. We just need to open up this switch into the main area of Wooded, where we are going to start capturing the cabbage boys. Ooh, there he is. So the cabbage is quite useful because it can extend really high, and if you jump out at the top, you can reach even higher spots. So we're going to go straight and get this nut. And then we're going to do a lot of kind of roundabout movement. We're going to go all the way around here, get another cabbage boy, and enter the iron maze. We're not going to spend too long in the iron maze. It is the intended kind of path through the story. But we're just going to get this moon here, and then drop too early, and then leave again. And do, I think, one of the most famous jumps in Odyssey, where you come out of here, bounce off Cappy, and get to the other side of the maze very quickly. I think that I saw that making rounds on the internet pretty early on. We're actually going to go back down. We made sure to grab the checkpoint so we can walk back to it and go to pipes. Pipes is all on cycles, so I have to hit my movement perfectly if I want to hit the fast cycle, which I've actually only ever done once. So we're not going to be too worried if we don't get the fast cycle. But so far, that is perfect movement. The second part is also very difficult. So we come down here, throw Cappy. Very, very close. But it's no problem. We weren't really expecting to hit that cycle, so we just got to wait for the water to come back up and grab this moon. Unfortunately, we did take damage, so like I was saying, we end up losing time to watch this healing animation. And now we're just going to walk back to that checkpoint we got earlier. So now we're going to do a bit of the story of Wooded Kingdom. So we're going to go over and kill this piranha plant. We don't actually not going to... Oh, I don't like it when it eats Cappy. That's actually slow. So we're going to go around here, try and keep our speed, which we do, so we can try and get on top of this nut. Good. Bonk strats, intentional bonks. Did not... Normally, if you stall enough, you are able to stall and hit the moon with that bonk, but I didn't quite get it right. There are a few times the bonks are optimals, which is quite fun. Okay, and then we're going to grab this story moon, which will play a short cutscene. After this, we will get into the Flower Road section which is the kind of final section of movement through Wooded Kingdom, at least for the first part of the story. A lot of these longer kingdoms actually have 2 sections of story. We never do the second section. So the second section is that we fight this giant UFO. We don't need to worry about that. So we're going to go over here. We don't need to be on the bridge forever. We're going to set us up a triple jump to get all the way up to the... Oh, dear. Okay. That happens sometimes. I'm going to count deaths as bonks as well, so you can add that to the bonk counter. So what happened there, sometimes the camera changes angle, which means that Mario changes angle on his dive as well. It happens. It's unfortunate. We'll try that again. 1, 2, 3. No, all the way up to this nut. There we go. And we're just going to roll off. We don't need to use any more flower bridges. We're kind of done with them, so we're just going to roll all the way down here now. Oh dear, a little bit low. We're fine. So hopefully some slick movement coming up to the next Cabbage Boy. And roll cancel into it like that. Speedy capture. We're going to use this Cabbage Boy. We're going to show up a couple techs with the cabbage. So we'll grab this moon. But for some reason, when you walk off a ledge with the cabbage, it's able to walk in midair for a second. So we can do this, and get up around, and then also exit the cabbage into a moon. 2 very, very quick moons. And then we just need to do a boss fight to finish off Wooded Kingdom. We're going to fight Spewit. This little road up to him is slow, so we're going to go up this way instead. Oh dear, or are we? Yes, we are. So Spewit, pretty straightforward boss. You're meant to wait for him to stop shooting all of this goo, but you can just kill him anyway. All the Broodals, you can generally kill them as fast as possible. The devs just kind of left all their hitboxes in place. So we're jumping on his hat to skip this phase completely. Then throwing out Cappy, letting Cappy hit the hat off. That was a pretty good Spewit fight, honestly. And that's Wooded Kingdom. Again, I'm going to grab a multi-moon. If we have donations, we can do them, but I know it's not that long since I called for the last donations.
Yeah, we got a £20 donation from the one and only Robbie AK47 saying, "Let's go Chili PG." Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you, Robbie. Okay, so with this multi-moon collected, we've now done both Lake and Wooded. We were given an option of where to go out of those 2 kingdoms. We did Lake first, literally because it's the first on the menu. And it gives us a chance to grab a couple more coins in case you didn't get enough before that point. But now we have enough moons, or at least we have enough moons that Cappy thinks we can go all the way to Metro Kingdom. Up to this point in the story, Cappy has always been talking about going to Metro Kingdom to catch Bowser and to get the help of Pauline. And so we think with this many moons, we can go over to Metro Kingdom. And you can see the game kind of baits you and draws this massive line halfway across the world map. It says, all right, it's time to go to Metro Kingdom. But it's actually not. We're going to get ambushed by Bowser. I'm going to skip the cutscene so you won't actually see Bowser show up, but we're going to end up in Cloud Kingdom, which is just basically only a boss fight. There's not much else that happens in Cloud Kingdom, especially in any percent. We will just do the Cloud fight and leave. So Bowser we'll fight him twice. It's basically the same both times. We're going to do a cool little bit of movement here where we only need one of these clouds to make it across. We're going to do a strat called Fast Hats with Bowser, which involves knocking the hat out of his hand very quickly. I haven't seen that fail like that before. Okay, that was weird. Okay, we're going to have to do the beginner strat where we just wait for it. Pull it onto our head like that. We want to make sure that Bowser doesn't jump away, so you need to be putting the hat onto your head near to Bowser, otherwise he'll jump away and start doing a different phase. We'll try and do the rest of Fast Hats though, which involves crouching under the hat here, backflapping on the hat, and grabbing it out of his hand like that. And the last phase is a little bit different. He makes too many hats, so we can't crouch under them. So we're going to do a damage boost. So once he spawns the hats, I'm going to dive into them on purpose. And then try and time this again. Like that. Okay, I'm not sure what happened on the first phase. That was a pretty good Bowser fight. We would just wait for him to do this tail attack and that's all over. So we're still not going to make it to Metro Kingdom yet. Bowser is going to attack us and send us crashing down into Lost Kingdom. Lost Kingdom's a very cool kingdom, I think. It goes by quite quickly. If you remember casually, what happens in Lost Kingdom is that there's a bird called Klepto who will steal Cappy, and you have to do quite a lot of the kingdom without Cappy until you fight Klepto and get Cappy back. We're going to do something called Klepto Skip, which involves going past the trigger for the cutscene by going up here. Triple jump off the leaf. Okay, good. Okay, that was Klepto Skip. So now we are able to go around most of the kingdom without Klepto bothering us and grab a bunch of moons. Later, we're going to go to Klepto and trigger his boss fight just so that and then that frees up the rest of the kingdom to travel through as well. So this butterfly, we just and then we dive into the moon. We're then going to head down onto these propellers, which are on a cycle. The cycle is just off. That's unfortunate. If the cycle is good, you can get some better movement, but this is fine. We'll just go over here and get this one, which is hidden in another rumble spot under the propeller. I'm going to play this movement quite safe because he says as Cappy gets thrown the wrong way. Okay, get this up on the tree, and then we're going to go right next to Klepto. It's going to trigger his boss fight, and it frees up the rest of the kingdom. We don't actually need to do the boss fight, so you hear the music change. Now we can go to the rest of the kingdom with no problem. So we're going to get quite a few moons very quickly here in Lost Kingdom. It's quite a small kingdom. We're going to set up this beetle to... Ooh. Oh dear, that's really bad. Let's look at this. Oh wow, I'm good. Okay, cool guys don't look at where moons are. There is a platform down there. I'm really impressed I managed to set that beetle to still hit the right spot. That was quite impressive. Normally it will take 2 shots to hit the correct moon because it's at the back. Okay, we're going to come down here. There's a moon just in the cage. After this, we only need 1 more. Which is hidden under a bridge. It's a very spooky moon to get casually, and even in the speedrun, it's a little spooky. So we're gonna long jump over here, and that's it. And it's actually not much slower to just die here. Cappy wasn't with me anyway, so you can use Cappy to escape out under the bridge, but we don't need to. And that is enough moons to exit Lost Kingdom, so we're just gonna throw onto the Odyssey. And finally, we do have enough moons to go to Metro Kingdom. What we're going to see when we get to Metro Kingdom is that Bowser got there first. What a surprise. And he's taking over the city. He's, I believe, the law, Mario law, is that he is using a Mecha Wiggler to draw power from the city. So basically, what we're going to do is try and defeat the Mecha Wiggler as fast as possible. When you get there, it's in night metro, we call it, because it's nighttime. And a lot of the city is blocked off, so we want to kind of turn it into day metro as fast as possible so that we can access the entire city. So there is a little... Oh god. There's a little skip coming up, which is called the awning jump, that skips most of the intended path of Night Metro. So we're going to roll along here and bounce off this awning. Cappy bounce up here. I think that's going to fail. Yeah, I bounced on Cappy a little bit late. That's unfortunate. We'll try that again. Well, we have to try that again. We don't want to do the intended route. Oh dear. Got Cap return. Okay, I'm going to use a slightly different movement. Okay, there we go. That should work. Now we're going to get even higher up on the buildings because being high up is useful. Come down to this moon instead of having to wall jump up to it. And again, we want to get back on top of these buildings so that we can stay nice and high up. And head all the way over to this building, like so. Bounce off Cappy. And capture these pylons. These pylons are quite useful at getting around Metro City very quickly. You'll see a moon over there. We're not going to get it yet. We'll come back to it in Day Metro, even though it looked quite quick to get it here. This room is on a cycle, so I need to hit it very correctly, get the right movement. I think we just about got it. Yeah, good. Okay, and there's no Goombas on this platform, which can kind of mess with us. If I set this up right, I could just mash jump and we make it up between the gap in the pillars. There we go. And we'll come off the pillars. We got quite a spooky jump coming up in a second. That's another one for the bonk counter. It's not as hard as it looks, but it can go wrong sometimes. Oh, I really didn't want to fail this. Okay, now we have to make it all the way back up again. No, that's not going to work. Okay. Come on, Mario. This time we got a Goomba on the platform, that's okay. Right. Oh, why did it? It does that sometimes. Okay. We'll have another go at that jump. Okay, so this game has a bit of an issue with lag. Sometimes if you hit something with Cappy, it lags out the game and eats your input. So what happened there was Cappy hit the chest and it's doing it again. It eats your dive input, which is a little bit unfortunate. So I'm just going to avoid that chest. Let's try this jump again. There we go. And that makes us over to the other side of Town Hall. Once we come out of here, we're going to make sure to grab this checkpoint because we're going to need it during daytime metro. And now we're going to go up to the Mecha Wiggler boss fight. So the Mecha Wiggler boss fight, we have to use the tank capture, which uses motion controls to aim. Oh, that was strange. So we're going to try and do something what we should call the 2-cycle Wiggler. So that was the first cycle. We're going to... Oh, flashing lights warning, by the way. I'm manipulating the Wiggler to come right near to me and it gets pretty bright. So we're doing this so that the Wiggler spends as little time charging as possible by going, like, standing in the corner here. Now we're going to come into the second phase of the Wiggler in a second, and I need to hit all these lumps, I guess, on the Wiggler as fast as possible before it disappears into the wall again. If I don't do it, we lose 30 seconds, so it just requires a bit of careful aim, basically. Shoot its orbs first. This pattern is horrible. So the pattern it does is completely RNG, and it basically protects itself if it walks over itself. That's not too bad, actually. Okay. Okay, yeah, 2-cycle Wiggler, we're okay. And that will take us out the Night Metro section. We have to watch quite a few cutscenes here because we've got to watch it die and grab a multi-moon, so if we have any more donations, it'll be okay.
Not a donation, but thanks very much Team Regen for the raid. Much appreciated, guys.
Yo.
And be sure to use the donate command and the mind command in chat to check out the Just Giving page and also to see what we're doing this for. Thank you very much.
Cool. Yeah, thank you very much for all the support, guys. This weekend's been amazing, honestly. So we're coming into Day Metro now. Like I say, the kingdom opens up a lot more. And I think Metro Kingdom in daytime is pretty much the epitome of Odyssey, where the routes are very open. And so it's very freeform. You can go between buildings a lot. We're going to do a trick here, if I can get it right, where we're going to throw Cappy over here and grab the moon, and then capture the pylon immediately afterwards so that we don't have to do any movement. Oh, we missed it. That's unfortunate. I wanted to show that off. Missing quite a few tricks, but it happens. It's a marathon. Right, so next trick is called Scooter Clip, which involves getting on the scooter. This avoids us having to use the RC car capture, so we're just going to hold our controller upside down so Mario is leaning as much as possible, and then clip into the wall like that. And then drive off the scooter up this awning. Let's backflip, Mario. Okay, capture this pylon. We have another chance at doing one of these Cappy tricks where we throw Cappy towards the pylon. Okay, we got it this time. You can see Cappy is going towards the pillar. And we're going to immediately flick down to see our friend on the bench. We're just going to have a nice little chat with him and it'll give us a moon as a reward. But moons are a kind of power source, so it is a bit odd that this guy was just keeping one in his pocket and giving it away to random strangers that he has a conversation with, but whatever. We're going to use these pylons again. They're a good way of getting a lot of speed around the kingdom. A little bit of movement tech, that's called a roll cancel, that allows us to carry around the corner, and then we're going to do some buffered spin pounds to get out of this, like so. Dive out. Again, use these pylons. Now we're going to go see the best girl, Pauline. She's just chilling out inside the city hall, and this is going to trigger the story of Metro Kingdom. We're not going to do most of it. Oh dear, what happened there? But what Pauline wants us to do is gather 4 musicians for her music spectacular. I forget the festival she wants to call it. Unfortunately, we're not going to do the festival, so we're not going to hear Jump Up Superstar. We are going to get 2 of the musicians because they're pretty easy to get, but the others are a little bit more out the way, and they trigger cutscenes when you get them, so it's generally pretty slow to get the musicians. But we are going to go head over towards the bases here because there's another moon right next to him. So that's pretty fortunate. We'll grab this one. And then go over to talk to the basist. And that will send us back to City Hall again. But we don't really care because after this, we are going to be warping. So if you remember, we got a checkpoint towards the end of Night Metro. We're going to be using that to warp up to the top of the, or near the top of the tower. And we're going to be doing a lot of kind of up and down movement here. So there's a dumpster kind of off to the... Ooh, dumpster over here. Ooh, that is not the correct movement. Ooh, just long jump instead. And then we're going to do a cool trick. This looks very scary, but once you're confident, you can just dive straight onto that moon like that. And this sets us near to a pylon again, so we can get all the way up to the very top of City Hall, because there is a moon right on the very top. You're just going to climb it, quick happy movement up the pillar because it's much faster than doing climbing movement. And then we're going to head all the way back down again. We're going to go dive on this moon. Okay, next most important thing to do is that we have to ground pound right here. That triggers a little Luigi that you'll see. That's called a hint art, and it gives you 200 coins. They're little kind of hidden bonus things. I missed the rubble moon, it's right there. And we're almost done with Metro Kingdom. We just need 2 more, which we'll get in what we call the people room, because there are people in it. It's kind of a... Oh, this door really loves bonks. It's quite narrow. Okay, so we're going to trigger the lever and start rolling straight away. I don't think this room is that hard casually, but it's super easy if you just go over to the wall and roll. You don't need to worry about it at all. Grab that one, which is in theory on a timer that you'll never miss. Dive up here and get the other one. We don't need to use all these levers. Those aren't levers, what are they? Poles? Okay, and that is it. Obviously, we're going to warp out because we're in a really bad spot. So warping to the Odyssey takes about 10 seconds, I believe. So generally, unless there's a moon only 10 seconds away, the best thing to put in the route is to go somewhere and then just walk back.
We got a £10 donation here from Not Fagin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But they say, shout out to Scrub. Thank you very much.
We had that exact same username come up earlier and we couldn't pronounce it either, so you're not the only one. Anyway, we're going to be giving a choice and we're going to go to Snow Kingdom first. It doesn't matter, it's first on the menu. Snow Kingdom's a bit of a weird one because it has a lot of bumps and hills, which can mess with our rolls. Mario really likes to roll downhill because he does apply the Lords of Gravity most of the time. But when we're trying to go fast, falling downhill usually isn't advisable. We are going to use it to kind of build up quite a lot of speed falling off this cliff to start with. We're going to... Ooh, I don't know what happened there. I guess I wasn't crouching. We're going to go see our friend Captain Toad, although probably you won't actually get to see him. You just kind of have to take my word. Ooh. Take my word that he's there. We're just going to... Yeah. You can see a little bit of his flashlight. He gives us a moon. That's all we need from him. And now we're going to head down into Shavira Town, which is the main area of Snow Kingdom. Just do a little bit of movement and ground pound down. Ground pounding is the fastest way to fall down here. So the story in Snow Kingdom, we do have to do most of it because it's a fairly linear kingdom. The idea is that Bowser's blocked off the lower level. We just do that with a triple jump instead of wall jumping up those boxes. Bowser's blocked off. You can see over there a bunch of barriers, and you have to get various story moons to remove those barriers, and there's not many other moons in the kingdom, so kind of forced to do them. We're going to buy a moon from our lovely seal friend here, who is very happy about that. And then we're going to grab all the moons we can in the town and then start doing these sub-areas that trigger the Bowser barriers. So we're going to do a little umbrella jump, which is a trick that can be a little bit difficult when you're a beginner, but I should get it first time. Like that. Grab a moon. I'm going to show off the fact that you can buffer spin pounds here. So straight out of my roll, I'm buffering another 720 input. And again here. I know exactly where the moon is, so I don't really need to see it. We're going to head down into the sub areas. This first one we're going to do. This sub area is on a cycle, so I need to hit some certain movement to show it off properly. Long jump and then triple jump. And we get boosted right up to the top. Thank you to the Blowy Joey for blowing that platform as we land on it. Very, very cool movement there. Spinies are in a really awkward cycle. Yeah. I couldn't really get over the Spinies, so couldn't get to the Blowy Joey that quickly. Kill all those Spinies. That's going to trigger the first story moon. We're not going to do all the story moons. We're just going to get as many as we need and then leave. So we're going to go to effectively 2.5 of the 4 sub areas. We'll get both moons in this sub area, and then the next one we're going to head over to is the Goomba room.
If I might just,
oh, go ahead.
If I might just quickly butt in to say we've just passed £3,500 raised. The most recent donation, Major Tom, £50. Let's go, Chili. Can't wait to see those perfect plumber nipples. Big props to the Gamo team for such a good event. Thank you, Major Tom, and thanks everyone so much for getting us to 3.5k. That's really huge. Thanks.
That's insane. Okay, so here in the Goomba room, we're gonna. Oh, I have the really good RNG. Both the Goombas came towards me. Their position is RNG. We got another optimal bonk coming up, so we're gonna jump out of this Goomba and bonk into the wall to grab the moon. Then some very scary looking movement coming up. It's not as bad as it looks, but the ice physics do make it. Why did I say anything? Okay, we do have backup movement here. We don't have to go all the way over there again. The intended thing to do in this room is knock down that big icicle. But we're just going to long jump over to the story moon. Like that. No worries, no worries. So that's 2 of the sub areas done. We only need 1 more moon. We're going to head over to the sub area that has Rango in. Rango being the brutal that we fought in Lake Kingdom. But it's actually very, very slow to fight Rango, especially with all the ice physics. Schlurp, by the way. So we're going to go to his room and grab the other moon that's in his room. Funnily enough, no categories that run this game fight Rango, because if you just leave Snow, beat the game, and then come back to in the post game, Rango just won't be there, and his story moon will. So we're just going to go up on these tornadoes. Bit of a weird room. There's a lot of kind of weird nubbins in the wall that can block your movement. Okay, and that's the last moon of Snow Kingdom. So again, we're just going to warp out. Then we'll be heading over to Seaside Kingdom, which again is another quite short kingdom. But we do get to use the Cheep Cheep again. I'm a big fan of the Cheep Cheep. So, Seaside Kingdom, there's 2 captures that you can use. There's the Cheep Cheep and there's the Gushen. The Gushen is like a squid, I guess it is. Yeah, it's a squid that spewts out water, allows you to gain a lot of height. The thing is that we're pretty sick at the game, so we don't need to gain height using a capture. We can just do it with Cappy. So any moons that require a Gushen, we're just going to be using Cappy movement to get there instead. So the first half of Seaside is all going to be based on Cappy movement, and then the second half we're going to go capture Cheep Cheep and get a bunch more moons from the Cheep Cheep. So yeah, it's the Seaside. So we're going to spend the first half on the beach, climbing up some cliffs. Pretty cool jump coming up with the start. So we go up here, bounce, bounce, and then ground pound and all the way up to this moon. So yeah, this is one of the ones where the game expects you to use a Gushen, but you can generally break the game pretty heavily just by bouncing off Cappy. Head into another rumble room. Again, we know exactly where the moon's going to be, which is here. And we can leave again. The snail is very impressed that we found it so quickly, obviously. And then only 1 more moon that we were supposed to get with a Gushen. So this next moon, the game goes into a fake 2D, but the game is not 2D. So sometimes you can miss this moon if the camera's off. It looks like we've not lined it up. Managed to save it. Okay, that's okay. Like I say, you can just go straight past the moon because it looks like you're in 2D, but it's still really 3D. Now we're going to head over to the sea and grab a Cheep Cheep. There'll be one by this rock over here. So I'm going to ground pound into the water and use the ground pound capture. So here you will be seeing me spinning a lot. The game doesn't tell you this, but if you try and dive and rise, I don't know what it calls it. Press Y and B at the same time, you do a boost. And so that's very useful to, you have to do it every couple seconds to keep top speed. Go through here, there's another moon in here. And the other thing we'll be doing a lot is the motion input, which is the fish's attack. Game does tell you it, but I feel like casually you don't realize how useful the motion inputs on captures are. So we're using the shake there instead of a ground pound as Mario to trigger that moon. There's another moon very quickly under this rock. That is a whale. And then I don't know how you're supposed to know that you do this casually. If you ground pound these 3 spots and then the middle spot, it spawns a moon. The next thing we're going to be doing is the only out of bounds trick that I'm going to be showing off in this run, which is called fish clip. So if we go over to this section here, we're going to have to do this in 2 goes because I didn't set it up very well. So basically the fish can get further out of bounds than Mario can. And we can just use that to go out of bounds over here. Very, very useful. And it allows us to get here. We have to be quite careful. We want to use, again, the shake extends our hurt box so we can grab that moon even though the moon is in bounds. We're going to go down and we're going to enter this loading area, which is, you're supposed to do the Sphinx as a riddle to get there. And that is Seaside Kingdom, very, very quick kingdom. So again, we're going to warp out. But the next kingdom is Luncheon Kingdom. We're starting to get towards the end game already. And both Luncheon Kingdom and Bowser's Kingdom, which is coming up a bit later, are big run killers, very long, hard kingdoms. So Luncheon Kingdom, it's an interesting one that it's probably the biggest kingdom, I would think. Bowser's Kingdom is also very big, but it has a lot of just kind of fall to your death areas, whereas Luncheon Kingdom has a lot of lava. And we want to be able to kind of traverse around the kingdom a lot, but we're kind of forced to do the story in Luncheon Kingdom, which involves getting to the top of the volcano and grabbing the multi-moon from the bird. Luckily, we don't have to fight the bird. I know I have some people that come into my chat a lot and say that the bird boss fight is disgusting, and if you've ever seen it, it is pretty weird. You have to like ride up its vomit. So luckily we're not going to be showing that off. We are going to be showing off some cool movement to get on top of these walls pretty quickly. So we're going to go over here, do a ground pound jump, bounce off Cappy, and get up here. I actually don't know how you're meant to get up here casually. And then we're going to head down. We're going to be heading over to Spew It in a second. We want to roll off this, keep our speed nice, and long jump over. There's another moon hidden in this alcove. You're intended to get over using these podaboos, which we will be using later in the run. That's going to bonk, isn't it? Oh, that's unfortunate. You have to wait for the fire animation to finish. Very nice movement there. Okay, we're going to be fighting Spew It again, exactly the same as the old fight. So we knock off his hat and then jump on him during this phase to stop the other phase. Use Cappy to knock him off, and we just do it one more time. I do like it that the devs added, I think these are maybe not exactly how we do it, but the intentional ways to speed up the boss fights, because nearly every single boss fight is like this, that there is a way to speed it up in some way. It's kind of, I don't know if it's intended for speedrunning or they just think it's quite neat, but shout-outs to the devs for that. And honestly, just shout-outs to the devs in general. I think this is an amazing game, and the movement in it, there's so much potential to just completely break it. And the open world design kind of feeds into that as well. So very, very fun game, both casually and as a speedrun. It's very beginner-friendly as a speedrun as well. This is my first speed game. Been running it for about a year. But you could definitely get as good as me in, I want to say, about 4 months if you really grinded it. So we're just going to briefly come in this sub area. It's not fast to get the other moon here, so we're just going to leave again. But that moon is so close to the entrance that it's stupid not to get it. We're going to jump over here. That little bit of wall is solid. You kind of see this a lot in Luncheon, that the mountainsides have little bits that you can land on. So there's a moon all the way up here. Now I'm going to be going for a little trick. I actually don't know the name of it. But basically, I'm going to be trying to throw Cappy to hit a crate while also climbing up with a triple jump. Like that. So Cappy got thrown over to the side, I popped the moon out the crate and climbed up the building at the same time. Does take a little bit getting used to. We're going to be getting a little golden turnip, which is the middle one of these 3, throwing it into the pot. There are a few of these around the kingdom. This is the only one we get. Another bonk strap. That one, I mean, it technically is optimal. You can just kind of grab that moon however you want, but bonks to the people. There's another moon right on top of this pillar. And so there's a reason I've turned my camera down like this. We don't want to be looking where we're going because it spawns a Podoboo. We're going to turn it up now so the Podoboo will spawn. And that just lines up the Podoboo cycle nicely to capture it right now after grabbing the moon. So we're going to use the Podoboo to quickly just get over to this room, which is the Forks room. Very, very fun room, both casually and in the speedrun. In the speedrun, we're really going to fly through it. We don't need to get all the Forks at all. So we're just going to use the up throw, which I'm shaking the controller up to grab these Forks. And then use the motion input. I said use the motion input to get a stronger fling, get over to this moon. And then we don't need to use the Forks anymore. We can just use Cappy to get over to this moon. So Forks, really, really fun room. It's over before you know it, but that's how it is. We're going to come out and grab a Podoboo immediately and there's a little tech with the Podoboo where if it's going up a slope, it's able to jump slightly higher, like that, and like that. Very weird quirk. If you're going downhill, it actually jumps lower as well, so... you were meant to have to kind of go all the way around. Now we're going to head over to probably my least favorite moon in the entire run, which is the Pan Bro. Oh, and he jukes me. So the Pan Bro's throw is RNG. We can kind of control it by getting really close to what we want to hit. Like that. And actually, that was kind of clean. We hit a lot of cheese that we didn't want to hit, but kind of how it goes. So that's another story moon. Like I say, we're kind of following the story progression, but just grabbing a lot of extra moons while we're doing the story. So we're about 2/3 of the way through Luncheon. The last bit is just to get up to the top of this mountain in front of us, where the bird is kind of chilling on a bunch of meat. Or, no, sorry, we want to shake the meat so that the bird comes over and grabs us. We're going to grab a Podoboo as soon as it spawns over here, use it to light this torch, and then position ourselves where the moon's going to be. I didn't quite get there in time, but it was fine. And then we're going to be doing a little cheeky triple jump up here to get all the way over the other side of the mountain. Grab this moon. Then some slightly spooky movement just because these... Oh god, yeah, that happens sometimes. There. Okay, yeah, this area sometimes just goes terribly, but that's fine. We just need to grab the multi-moon now, so just one more. There's the fork around the corner, which I can capture. Capture the meat, which is probably the strangest capture in the game, that or the Christmas tree. And you can see the multi-moon just up here. We don't have to do a boss fight, which is lovely. Grab the multi-moon, and we have got quite a lot of cutscenes to watch, so if we have... Actually, no, I tell you what, we won't do cutscenes because we've got even more downtime coming in a moment, so I'll kind of talk through. We got 3 kingdoms left. We think we're about to head to Bowser's Kingdom. We just got to skip a couple of cutscenes. Actually, something a little bit funny that... So the story is still continuing here. We never really finished the story in any kingdoms, and Cappy's like, oh no, the volcanoes are erupting, but Mario's like, oh, I've got enough moons. I'm kind of done with that, to be honest. Let me just move on over. So we will leave the Luncheon Kingdom in a state of chaos. So we're going to, in theory, we kind of get juked by the game again, like we did when we thought we were going to Metro Kingdom. We now think we've gathered enough moons to go to Bowser's Kingdom and kind of confront him and save Peach. What's actually going to happen is probably the weirdest bit in the whole game, in already quite a weird game. So we're going to get ambushed by Bowser on a dragon. We're going to skip the cutscene again. But the dragon is incredibly out of place. My theory has always been that this was meant to be a bigger kingdom. There was kind of a haunted kingdom where you could capture boos. And they just kind of ran out of time. And so they just left it at this weird boss fight. So we're going to make our way up to here. And this is a very, very short kingdom. It's literally just a boss fight. It's kind of the same as Cloud Kingdom. But this boss fight is kind of a bit weird in the speedrun, because it's right in the middle of all the really tricky kingdoms, but this itself is really, really easy, and you can't really lose time on it. So what we're going to do is spawn a couple of moons, because we are going to be doing some damage boosts. Spawn a couple of hearts, sorry. And then we're going to do a triple jump and land on the dragon while it's still kind of shooting out all its electricity. And that just allows us to start knocking these keys off his head as soon as possible. And then we ground pound that area as soon as it becomes available. And so we just have to do this 3 times. There's not much else to show off, so I think this is probably a good time for some donations.
Thanks very much, yeah. We've got a £30 donation from Melba, who says, "Good luck, Chili. I see a lot of your runs when Tom has your stream on. Great to see people raising so much money for a great cause." And we've got a £15 donation from SBF saying, "I spotted Big the Cat 3 times, which means I need to pay up." And a £3 donation from an anonymous donor who says, "More like cheat beach." I think a few people in chat were a bit upset with the out of bounds.
Okay, so yeah, we're just finishing up this boss fight now. Again, you can just kind of use Cappy to jump over all his attacks as well, so you don't even need to worry about that. One last triple jump onto the head. And this is the most precise of the keys. You're still not going to really run it out of worry about doing it not in one cycle. You've got lots of time, but you want to do it as fast as possible because we are speedrunning, and that is the dragon dead. Again, there's still not... We've probably got about a minute left of Ruin Kingdom that is just cutscenes, but we've got Bowser's Kingdom coming up next, which is probably the most difficult kingdom in the run. For multiple reasons. There's a lot of difficult movement, but also there's some boss fights that are actually difficult. In the speedrun, most of the boss fights are really, really easy. But the end of Bowser's Kingdom will be coming up at the mech fight, which is genuinely quite difficult. It's one of the big killers when you're a beginner. I'm hoping that I can show off all the strats pretty cleanly. Just as we're going to power up the Odyssey, but we got a way to go through Bowser's Kingdom. Bowser's Kingdom, I think, is either Bowser's or Metro that's the longest. I think maybe Metro is slightly longer. But we tend to split it up into 2 sections. We call it the bunny section and the mech section. So the aim of the bunny section is to fight the 2 remaining Broodals. So in theory, if we were doing the story properly, we would have fought 6 Broodals by this point. We would have fought Rango twice, we would have fought Spewart twice, which we actually did. We would have fought Topper once, which we did in Cap, and we would have fought Harriet once, and we've never even seen Harriet. So Harriet, we were supposed to fight in Sand Kingdom, but it's very, very slow to go over to her. So we just kind of ignored that. So the 2 that we haven't fought twice, or in theory haven't fought twice, are waiting for us at kind of the gate to Bowser's Castle. So we come over here. These birds love to lag out the game and eat my movement here, so hopefully we'll make it up. Oh, we just bonked anyway. That wasn't even the bird, that was just me failing. We've got this backup movement like this. And then we got a fairly spooky little bit of movement here where we're going to try and long jump off a railing. Like that. Now we're going to triple jump past this ogre so that he tries to attack us, and then we can just land on his head and kill him. And that is the first part of the story in Bowser's Kingdom. So Bowser's especially, you really have to do the story. It's a very linear kingdom. The game doesn't even tell you how many moons you need to leave, but we know that I believe it's 8 off the top of my head. You just do the story, but you grab a couple of moons along the way, and that's enough to leave. So that was the first one, which was the Ogre Moon. The next one coming up is called the Shards Moon, where there's quite a lot of sections throughout the game where you have to grab 5 moon shards to create a moon. This is actually the only one that we do, and it's necessary. Generally, these are pretty slow because you got to go to 5 different places. So that's one. This one we're just going to capture with Cappy like that. Yeah, these spinies just really get in your way. Enemy positions are RNG, so figuring out movement for sections like that is a little bit awkward. You just have to make it up on the fly. There's another moon hidden up here on the roof. We'll get another one as we come off the roof. Oh, Mario threw it the wrong way. It was behind us. We're just going to capture a Pokio. The last moon shard is hidden in this glowing box. And that's the 5 moon shards, which will trigger a moon right in front of us. So this is the last story moon before we get to head over to the bunnies. We are going to grab 1 moon on our way, which is quite close to this moon that we are currently sitting at. It's just hidden up on the roof. We'll make that up there, hopefully with a triple jump if I get my movement cleanly, but there's a couple of other ways to get up there if I fail the triple jump. So I like to turn the camera down to really line this up, but we dive over here and then 1, 2, 3, like that, and the moon is just up here. That's a pretty quick one, so really don't have to go far out of our way. There's not many moons that are available in Bowser's Kingdom until you do the story. But generally the ones we do are not far out of the way. So we're now coming up onto the 2 boss fights. There's a bit of meme in the community about which of these fights you do first. Obviously the correct answer is Topper. And the real reason for that is because Topper is harder and you want to get it out of the way. So Topper has been upgraded from our fighting Cap, which I already messed up. We're doing better than that already. So we have to knock these hats off and jump on him, and then as he does this phase, we land on him, trigger it again. Good, Topper fight. Land on him again. And now we're going to fight Harriet for the very first time. Like I say, we were meant to fight her in Sand. This is, again, it was going to be an upgraded fight. In Sand, if we did fight her, she would only have 1 bomb that she throws at us. Here, she has 2. It's a pretty straightforward fight. We just have to wait for her to attack and knock the bomb back at her. In this phase, it looks like it should be RNG, but she actually goes on a set pattern, so we know exactly where she's going to go. We stand in very set spots and kind of wiggle around like this. It's not a meme. It does make her attack faster. And again, I know exactly where she's going to shoot this bomb, which is going to be over here. And again, we'll stand here, wiggle, and hopefully she attacks nice and quickly. There we go. Okay, so we're done with the bunny section. Now we've defeated, well, at least the game would assume that we've defeated all the bunnies twice now. And the bunnies kind of realized that, oh, this isn't really working. We need to find a better way to stop Mario and let Bowser. I mean, they're his wedding planners, so I don't know. But their new plan is to Power Rangers style join together and go into a mech, which all 4 of them are driving at once. Most of them are hanging off the side. It really doesn't look very comfortable, but whatever. So now we're just going to try and get up to the mech and fight that as fast as possible. We are going to be grabbing 1 more moon on the way, which we will get in just a second. This is what we call the Crates moon. Where we go around the back. Normally you'd get this with a Pokio, which are these birds. And we are going to use the Pokios a little bit later, but we're just able to get up there with Mario. Okay, we have got a bit of a spooky jump coming up because the camera doesn't like to correct itself out of this pipe, so I have to go into this jump blind. Oh, that's unfortunate. I thought I'd go for that because it does look quite impressive, but I do tend to hit it most of the time, but marathons are marathons. So we're gonna just be going off again. Oh dear. Okay. We are gonna get a Pokio in a bit, but not these ones. We just have to kind of make up our own movement up here. Because obviously we were not meant to be here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is the Pokio that we do want to capture. It almost killed itself. That's a little bit alarming. Oh my god, it did kill itself. Okay, well, I guess that happened. There's nothing to be done about that, really. Okay, well, this is a little awkward. So we're just going to be going up there again. Luckily, as I say, like, the movement is so free from here that even though this isn't movement that I practiced, you can just use Cappy to kind of get wherever you want. Right, hopefully the bird isn't standing on some weird ledge this time. There we go. Okay, and the bird is pretty powerful. It can scale walls very quickly. There is actually a way to get up this wall without the bird. Shout outs to the minimum captures community, but the bird is a lot quicker. And that little extra mid-air jump I'm doing is the motion input of the bird. And also I'm motion inputting to fling higher with the bird as well. So now we are actually coming up to the mech fight. And again, the intended way to do it is to capture a bird and shoot rocks, shoot bombs back at its legs. It takes a while for it to even spawn a burn, so what we're actually going to be doing instead is very cool. We're going to be climbing up onto the mech, which has... Ooh, the game lagged out. Like I say, sometimes the game lags out and eats your inputs. it up here. Then we get up here like this. And that allows us to attack the bunnies. We do need to make it back onto the mech, so we're going to do some cappy bounces very carefully. Make sure we don't get blocked by the ears as they spin around. Very nice. Okay, so the idea of this fight is to try and stay on the mech the entire time. So we're going to be doing this, and again, it's very similar. We do want to try and stall in midair. We're quite low. Okay, we managed it. That particular dive that I just did is probably the hardest part of the entire fight. At least for me. So while it's doing this charging attack, all the bubbles are invincible. So we're just going to wait for this phase to be over. It's going to do a spin attack, and then it's going to step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we can kill Rango. And just Harriet left to kill. Launched off. And we land on Harriet. This can be a little awkward sometimes. There we go. Okay, that's the mech fight over. And now we have a lot of cutscene to go. So if we have any donations, it would definitely help me carry out this last section quite well.
I don't believe we have any more currently.
That's unfortunate. Get on it, chat. What you doing? But anyway, we are now grabbing the multi-moon. This is like an extra long multi-moon grab animation, but there's no real way to skip the mech fight. As I was saying, that the Bowser Kingdom story is very linear, and it kind of forces you to do everything, unlike most of the kingdoms where you're allowed to do whatever you want. But we do now have enough moons that we are able to go to the moon, much like everyone's AMC stock right now. I'm sure you're all ready to jump in that rocket, just like Mario is. I think maybe he's on the GME, actually, being the gamer he is. So we're just going to use it to power up the Odyssey, and the Odyssey is going to get even stronger than it was, and it's able to have enough power to go all the way to the moon, which for some reason is where Bowser decided to have his wedding. A lot of the story is even less logical than most Mario game stories, I think. They're usually a bit bizarre, but this one just kind of takes the cake. So coming up is Moon Kingdom, which is the final kingdom of the game. It's a weird one because some of it has moon gravity, which messes with a lot of our movement, but also makes our movement more broken in other senses because we're able to jump higher. So we're going to use that for a couple of kind of very, very big skips. Most notably is the Moon Cave skip, which some of you might have heard of. It's very important. So the intended route through Moon Kingdom is that quite early on you go into a cave, and the gravity goes back to normal, and you do all these boss fights. I believe you fight Madame Brutal again, who we fought in Cascade Kingdom. But you abusing the gravity of the moon. By the way, here I'm going to be using vectoring again, as we talked about in the frog room, where if you go at a 45-degree angle, you actually travel faster. So allows to make us all the way over here off a triple jump. And then we're just going to be rolling all the way over towards the moon cave. But like I say, we're not going to be doing the moon cave. We're going to be skipping it using a very cool jump. We grab 2 rocket flowers here. Again, vector this jump so that we go a little bit faster. And we're going to be doing moon cave skip, which involves bouncing off the head of this sphinx and wall jumping on a very specific bit of wall that allows us to get 2 wall jumps. I think I might have actually missed it. Oh no, we're good. And so we've skipped the moon cave, and that saves, I believe, even if you did the moon cave with optimal speedrun strats, that still saves about 8 minutes. So now we're just going to head into the chapel where Bowser's trying to marry Peach. She's not too happy about it. Maybe Bowser's never heard of consent, I don't know. But we're going to break down the door. Mario objects to the wedding, and it's time for a second Bowser fight, which is very similar to the first Bowser fight. Bowser has a couple new moves, but in terms of the speedrun strats, it's more or less the same. The first phase that we do is slightly different, so we're going to dive and stop the hat, and then we're going to make sure that we put it on next to Bowser, like so. But the next 2 phases, we're going to be doing the fast hats that I showed off in Cloud Kingdom. Bowser does do these extra attacks now, and he does also have this extra fire-breathing phase, which I will show off how bad this attack is. I think they coded it just so that it only hits grounded opponents, so you can just kind of just do whatever. You really don't need to worry about getting hit by that fire. So again, for the second phase, we crouch under the hat. I set that up quite slowly, but we still got it. So this time Bowser's going to swing his tail twice. We exactly know what the pattern is going to be. We've got the full download on Bowser at this point. On the final phase, he'll think he's got a final trick in his card. He does kind of parry our last attack. But we're ready for that. So again, we just wait out this fire phase. There's no way to skip it. If you stand in the wrong spot, it does go on for longer. But you don't. It's pretty hard to even trigger that. There's not much to be done here. But this is not the final fight. There is another section after this. So we're just going to be backflipping onto this in a second. That's the Bowser fight. That was a very, very clean Bowser fight, actually. So 1, 2, 3. We attack him and he's going to parry. And then there. And we skip it. Ooh, a little bit too early. Skip a cutscene as soon as we beat Bowser. Ooh. I so often mess this up. You have to roll and then skip a cutscene. And now we're going into the very last section of the game, which is called the escape, where we're going to use the final capture of the game, which is Bowser himself. Bowser is a pretty cool capture, honestly, because he works a little bit more like Mario in the fact that you can double and triple jump with him. He has this claw attack, and then he also has a fireball on his motion input. All these are pretty useful. So we're just going to take a very nice tight line across this section. Make sure we don't get hit by that. That can damage you sometimes. So we're going to be showing off Bowser's triple jump here. Go up here and then shoot this fireball, and it allows us to skip, well, I don't know, probably about 8 seconds of gameplay. Now, probably the last scary trick of the run is coming up, called 2D skip. It's pretty infamous for being very easy, but only saves 2 seconds and lose 45 seconds if you mess it up, so let's hope I don't mess it up. Yikes. Yikes! Okay, well, I guess that happens sometimes. And so, like I say, it loses 45 seconds. It resets you back to the start of the Bowser section. We will be going for it again, because I know I can hear it, and it's, yeah, like I say, it's not too hard. Sometimes the pressure gets to you when you're on PB pace or you're in a marathon. So 1, 2, 3, up to the triple jump. Knock this down again. So yeah, what we're doing is leaving particular blocks open in the 2D section so that we can jump off them rather than going around them. Also to note, we are actually holding down Y the entire time here, which is the fireball button, but it is also the run button, which I think is a carryover because they just copied 2D from Mario. So you can see there we hit the 2D a lot cleaner. I think it was probably because I wasn't thinking about it as much. Now we're running out of the final section of Escape. Just shooting a bunch of these walls down. There's going to be some more walls coming up. Ooh. And again, so Bowser works very similar to Mario. He has short hops and full hops. And we're going to break down this, and we're coming up into the pillars room, which is the final room of the game. There's 4 pillars that we need to break to release the pylon so we can escape the moon. We're just going to start shooting them as fast as possible, so I'm going to try and hit them as I'm heading towards the center. These are some pretty good shots, honestly. Oh, actually, I missed more than I thought I would. Okay, so that's the first pillar. Get up here. Start doing the second pillar. 1, 2, 3. And then it's just going around. The camera is really just doesn't behave itself in this room, which is a little bit annoying, but one more pillar, and then time is coming up. It's when there's a big flash of light, I will call it. So again, the camera does not behave itself. We just got to destroy this, and the pylon is inside it. So yeah, like I say, Bowser's going to jump into the pylon, and then there will be a big flash of light, and time is coming up. 3, 2, 1, time. So yeah, that's it. That's Mario Odyssey. I think it's honestly a very good beginner speed game. Very, very movement based. There are some tricks, and unfortunately I missed quite a few of the tricks, but I think I managed to show off quite a lot of the tricks as well. But yeah, that's it. I believe we're now going to move on to Nipple % because the donation incentive was met. If anyone wants to let me know exactly how we're doing.
I think so. I just need to wait for Illuminati to sort out the clock, I believe.
Pretty sad cutscene coming up here, honestly. I feel like it wasn't too great, but yeah, let me know. Oh, Okay, that's better than I thought. Okay. Yeah, no, the no reset runs that I was doing for practice were 111s. My PB is a 109. So 112 in a marathon, actually, yeah, okay. That's better than I thought. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, let me set up a new save. Unfortunately, we do have to watch a few. This is the fastest way to set up a new save after you finish the run, but it does take a moment. We've got to skip through the credits and wake up in Mushroom Kingdom. So I guess I can introduce Nipple Percent. Nipple Percent, I'm sure a lot of people saw it and thought that sounds like a meme, and honestly, it is a meme, but it's actually a very interesting category. What Nipple Percent is take off Mario's shirt as fast as possible. And the way we do that is by buying the boxer shorts. The boxer shorts are quite an interesting outfit because they cost 1,000 coins. So it's much more expensive than your standard outfit. And so, but you can buy them very early on in the game. You can buy them in Sand Kingdom. So what Nipple Percent is basically a coin grind, coupled with some optimal movement throughout the first bit of. It's kind of a mishmash between the first 10 minutes of any percent and a coin grind. So we are gonna. Luckily, I'm fluent in Chinese, so I can go through all these menus really easily. Okay, so we're ready when you are. I think I'll just count down as 3, 2, 1, go. So it's going to start, especially in Cap Kingdom, we'll see it very similar. I'm just going to try and grab some more coins. But the very first, I want to say like 40 seconds will be identical to any percent. Where we skip this cutscene, and then Cappy will be kind of trying to wake us up and all this. But so yeah, I think I said the boxer shorts costs 1,000 coins, which to get within 3 kingdoms is a lot. I think in any percent we only collect about 400, 500 coins throughout the entire route. So the first set of coins that we're going to be getting are behind some boxes in the village. We can get 45 coins here if we go over to the left instead of going over to the right immediately. So there's a bunch of coins in here. But then we're going to go through this as normal. I actually got a skip that I didn't get in the first run, which is called first person. I think first person manipulation, I think they technically call it. Where if you enter first person before that cutscene triggers, the camera will actually move over quicker and start the cutscene faster. The movement in the frog room is going to be slightly different as we. Okay, nice. Get all the coins out of that box. Frog shoot tooks. That happens sometimes. If you get to the frog slowly, then it'll jump. But it's kind of random when it'll jump. We want to make sure we're hitting these hoops to give us some coins throughout the frog room. Hopefully I can show off the vector that I actually missed in the run as well. Yeah, so yeah, I'm playing Captain better than I did in any percent. But that's how it goes sometimes. We're going to go around the side of the hat. We're losing our speed. You can add that to the bonk counter, I suppose. And we want to make sure we're grabbing these coins. They don't become grabbable straight away, so I didn't miss those. I just couldn't actually get them. And then there's a few coins that we'll get during the topper fight as well. Oh my god, I'm doing it early again, huh? Luckily, you know which one he is. Okay, we're gonna grab those coins. You want to have about 100 coins when leaving Cascade Kingdom. Something that I think I didn't mention during the any percent route as well is that if I'm mashing jump during this cutscene, I'm actually able to jump for like the frame that you can control Mario. So that just allows us to capture that pylon just ever so slightly quicker. So Cascade is where we're going to start to see the route diverge from any percent a bit more. Cap, there's no real chance to do a different route. All you have to do is get to the end and defeat Topper. The way we can get 1,000 coins so quickly is by using hint arts, which we did get one of those hidden Luigis in Metro Kingdom and any percent. We're going to be getting 3 throughout this run. So each hint art is worth 200 coins, and that makes getting to 1,000 suddenly a lot more realistic. So there's a hint art hidden up this cliff in Cascade Kingdom, So instead of heading over to the Dino to do Dino Skip, we're going to go a different way around up to the boss fight. Closer to the intended route, but still not really the intended route at all. And grab one of our hidden Luigis. We're going to get one hint art hidden here in Cascade Kingdom, and then there'll be two that we'll get in Sand Kingdom. And then the other thing that we're going to do in Sand Kingdom is head over to the Sphinx, which is hoarding a lot of treasure, and we can get money off that. So again, going over to the left here to trigger the cutscene a little bit early. And so, like I say, in 80%, we'd be heading over kind of straight ahead to the Dino. We're actually going to go over to the right now. And do a triple jump all the way up here. And then spin pound all the way over here to the Luigi. So the Luigi, you don't know, but it's here, I believe. There we go. We want to make sure we're trying to hit these coins as well. And we also want to be making sure that we're heading into the boss fight with full health. We're going to do probably the hardest trick of Nipple % here, which is bouncing off this rib. Oh, no, I missed it. Oh, I was getting that every single time in practice. Okay, we are just going to have to go up to the Dino. That's now the fastest way to get back up. That's fine. Like I say, the Dino is a very quick way to get to the boss fight. And we are going to be trying to grab coins in the boss fight as well. And like I say, it's important that we're heading up there at full health. Because when we grab hearts, they will then come out as coins instead. So we're going to trigger the chomp as normal. And then I'm going to do a slightly more awkward movement than what I'd normally do and grab this rock, which has a heart inside it. Then try and grab the chomp. I actually got that quicker than I did in the fight. That was really, really clean. We'll try and get over and get this rock as well, but our coin count is already pretty good. Okay, I don't think we're going to get that heart, but I believe we're at 329 coins right now. It's a very weird category because you're always looking at your coin counter while trying to do fast movement at the same time. My aim is to normally have around 330 coins while leaving Cascade Kingdom. So 329, I think, is fine. There are some backup coins we can get, but I'm pretty comfortable with 329. So Sand Kingdom is going to look very, very different because we don't need to grab any moons whatsoever. We're done. Well, we need to grab one more moon in Cascade Kingdom to finish off having enough power to power up the Odyssey. And it's going to be the exact same moon that we grab in 80%. We're kind of done with our coin grind now. So we're just going to, again, head over to the left and climb up this cliff. And then head back down to the Odyssey. Like I say, there are a couple of backup coins around here that I could get, but I'm pretty comfortable with our current coin count. So in Sand Kingdom, what we're looking to do instead of grabbing coins is just instead of grabbing moons, is grab coins. And we just want the fastest route that will grab 2 hint arts and then get over to the Sphinx room. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There's one hint art that's in the town, and one hint art that is in a very, very weird spot. The hint arts are definitely just kind of hidden secrets that you're rewarded for just kind of messing around with the game. You don't even get any vibrations for being near them. Sometimes you see weird markings on the wall, but I believe those ones don't give you 200. It's only the ones that you ground pound in certain spots that give you 200. So it's for Nipple % speedrun, it's a matter of just knowing off by heart exactly where the spots are. There are sort of indications you can use, but it's not like the developers were really like pushing for you to find these casually. You might find like 1 or 2 on a casual playthrough, but you're not meant to find a whole bunch of them. So we're just going to skip through all these cutscenes and talk to Cappy, and then we can get moving again. So like I say, the first one is in the town. It's right ahead of us. We are going to roll down the hill like we did in 80%, but instead we're going to make sure we hit this checkpoint so we can come back here later to the shop. Up through, up to the pylon, and then there's a hidden Luigi here. That cactus has the largest hitbox in the world. That's unfortunate. And then we're going to roll over here, head towards this floating island of the sky as a kind of reference. Because the hint art is under the shadow of it, but it's not quite in the middle. It's kind of here. There we go. Okay, so now our coin count is going to be looking pretty good, but we still need about 270 more. Head over here. And then we're going to And we're going to do a pretty neat little trick. We just want to take the tightest line that we can straight across Sand Kingdom, and we're going to do a little jump that will take us basically to the other side of Sand Kingdom. Go around here, bounce off Cappy, and we're over to the Sphinx. The Sphinx is going to ask me a riddle. Luckily, I speak Chinese, so we are able to solve his riddle pretty cleanly. And the Sphinx is hoarding a whole lot of money, so we're going to grab all these. We have 1,000 coins. Warp over to the shop. We don't need the moon. We don't care about moons. We only care about the nips. So you can see the shop is just over on the left here. Oh dear. I hope you were keeping count of my bonks, because I don't really want to go back and watch the whole board. Oh my god. Tried to get a roll cancel, did not cancel my roll. Okay, and time is coming up. Time. Sorry, I should have given you a bit more notice, but we have now obtained the ultimate life form of Nipple Mario. And yeah, that's Nipple percent. It's a fun little run. It's quite different to any percent because it's about optimizing your coins rather than... I'll show us the nips, Mario. Show us the nips. No. There we go. Yeah, but that's it. Thank you everyone for having me. I hope you've enjoyed both Any Percent and Nipple Percent. Mario Odyssey is a super sick game. But yeah, that's pretty much all from me.
We do have an anonymous £5 donation that says, "Let's go, Pete." Getting that in there. Also, you got a 9-minute 12 for Nipple Percent. I don't know how good that rates compared to your normal Nipple run.
Considering I missed the jump up the rib, that was pretty good. My PB is a 8:49, I think. So yeah, pretty good Nipple Percent, honestly. It's such a short category that every 10 seconds is a pretty big jump. But yeah, 9:12 in a marathon is, or whatever you said, was pretty solid.
Yeah, 9:12. Congrats. I do believe that some people in chat were counting the bonks. I don't have an exact number right now, but
okay.
I think
I'm sure
it was,
I can ask people and I can donate later. I said £3 for every bonk. So
I believe it was between like 12 and 15, sort of, maybe, but I'm not.
Okay.
14 bonks. Doggy underscore is coming in. 14 bonks, he says.
Okay, well, that's actually not too bad. I was going to say £5 for every bonk, but then I realized how much I bonked when I watched my runs back. So. But yeah, that's all it from me. Thank you so much to the Gammo team. Huge shout outs to everyone for running this event. It's been amazing.
Thank you for being on with us. We're going to have a quick break now while we prepare for the next run, which will be Samu Rolian. I always butcher that name, running Rayman Legends Any Percent. So stay tuned for that, and that'll be starting as soon as we can. See you soon.